What is up, everybody? You are checking out the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, the Hot Commodity Ant C, and I'm joined by my very own Hot Commodity with a very nice ponytail that he's rocking for me. It's very cute. His name is Ant, too. And you are jumping into our time machines as we cover the Attitude Years Season 3. We're in the summer of 2000. And we are covering WWF Raw Is War from July 17th in Albany, New York. This is the last Raw before Fully Loaded. And we have a huge promo to kick off Raw. Commissioner Foley comes out. Foley says, I gotta say it's good to be back in the USA. Remember, Foley was on that Asian tour. He says, it is great to be in Albany. I didn't appreciate Triple H bending my authority, beating up Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is not scheduled to be here, but he did say that he can't wait to get his hands on Triple H in a last man standing match where you have to make your opponent in a state of unconsciousness. And if I can only imagine Triple H unconscious, I said yes. The Undertaker comes out. Taker says, we go back to a lot of wars, and you know me pretty well. I don't like the disrespect Kurt Angle has shown me. That boy is yellow. You are going to make a match tonight with me and Kurt Angle. If you don't, I'm going to find him and hurt that boy. Foley says, if you're trying to intimidate me, it worked. That's when Kane then comes out. Kane says, you think you've seen chaos, you ain't seen it yet, but you'll see it throughout this building unless you give my brother what he wants. And then Kurt Angle appears on the Titantron. This is like a party now. Angle says, I am sorry about hitting you, Undertaker. I had no intentions of hitting you. I wanted to hit Triple H. Foley says, I'm inclined to make a tag match, Kane the Undertaker versus Kurt Angle and your party buddy, Triple H. And then Triple H appears on the Titantron. They do a split screen of the game and Kurt Angle. Triple H says, Foley, you probably hate me more than anyone. I'm the guy who made it so you can no longer compete, but I'm begging you, don't make me team with this Olympic twerp. Angle says, I'm not a twerp. I don't think your wife does either, and that's true. Which the game then says, you don't hold up tonight, you're going to end up like Y2J, broken and bloody. Just like at Fully Loaded, I'll be the last man standing, and that is true. So that's it for those guys. And then WWF Champion The Rock comes out. Rock says, now mixing, you're giving the people what they want. I have one request. Chris Benoit, I want him tonight. And then WWF Tag Team Champions Edge and Christian, Chris Benoit and Shane McMahon come out. Benoit says, it doesn't matter to me. Every time I put you in the crossface, I love hearing you squeal. You will tap out because I'm the greatest technical wrestler in the WWF today. Prove me wrong. Shane then says, it doesn't matter when it is. You're looking at the new WWF champions. Foley says, hold up. Only I can rip off The Rock's catchphrases. I call the shots. I'm Tony Soprano, and you're the guy cleaning the toilets at the Bada Bing, which shout out because we both like that show, Sopranos. Christian says, we are feeling better, but not ready to defend the titles. Foley says, I always fought when I was sick because I have something you lack, a set of testicles. We are going to get a 6-man match tonight, Edge and Christian and Chris Benoit versus the Acolytes and The Rock. The Rock attacks Chris Benoit, Shane, Edge, and Christian attack, and then the refs separate them. So pretty much a huge segment to cover the matches for tonight. What do you think of them taking 20 minutes to do this here and the way they used to make matches? Now they pretty much announce them the week before, but this is 2000. So what do you think of it?
Yeah, I mean that's how it was back then. Usually the first half an hour of Raw was very soap opera, people would come out, a lot of talking. And sometimes I kind of miss it.
Okay.
So, it can be a bit much sometimes, but I think they either do too much of it or not enough. So it would be nice to have a good mixture of it.
Okay. I hear you. I agree. Who do you think stood out the most in this? Because there was a lot of guys out there talking.
Well, they were kind of all tied in together, so
I like the Kurt Angle.
I do too. Yeah.
Where he was like, your wife doesn't think I'm a twerp.
Yeah.
That was good. Our first match of the night, the Dudley Boyz taking on the Hardy Boyz with Lita. The Dudley lands a doomsday device to Jeff Hardy and a what's up headbutt to Matt. The Dudleys grab a table, then Steven Richards comes out and Devon chases him off. Jeff Hardy climbs a ladder and jumps onto everyone on the floor. And then TNA and Trish Stratus attack Lita and the Hardys. The Hardys get a DQ victory. After TNA put Lita on a table, Trish climbs a ladder, but Lita is able to climb and tries to go after Trish. And then Trish Stratus pushes Lita off that, how tall is that ladder, would you say?
That was like a 10-foot ladder.
10-foot ladder through a table. Lita's stretchered out, but she refuses treatment, and Lita says, I'm gonna get that bitch. So
it was brutal. She fucked her up through that table.
Right now in this time period, who are you liking more, Lita or Trish?
Well, Lita, but I still like Trish too, though. I mean, Lita was the face, so. But I definitely like Trish, and I'm excited to see more of her early career because I didn't see a lot of it. So.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see some more stuff.
And she basically goes from a dumb Sable character to like one of the best women wrestlers. So.
Yeah, Trish Stratus has a really fun start. Next year, you'll see her barking like a dog. So the Godfather comes out. He's supposed to take on Steve Blackman for the hardcore title, but Steven Richards comes out. Richards says, what is it with you people? Don't you know right from wrong? You cheer for violence, you cheer for indecency, and worst of all, you cheer for the Godfather and his hoes. Where have your morals gone? He's corrupting the moral fiber of the youth of America, and it's wrong. You cannot have scantily clad women accompany you to ringside. I will continue to censor you and your lady friends because you don't know any better. The Godfather says, bring all your high morals and I'll... Wait, I'm like, what did he say? Bring all your high morals and whatever you think about your censorship and we'll fight. Steven says, violence has never solved anything and I refuse to soil my hands with you unless it's self-defense. And then Godfather chases after Steven Richards.
You better get prepared to defend yourself, son.
Yep. And then Bull Buchanan shows up dressed like Steven Richards and it destroys the Godfather in the ring, lands a scissors kick, and Steven chases the hose to the back. So this is pretty much Bull Buchanan's debut working with Steven Richards here.
Right to censor.
Yeah, so what do you think of this?
Well, I feel like there was no story to it. Like, why does Steven Richards just all of a sudden want to censor everything?
So the background for it was that they were pretty much going at the networks, the cable companies for or not cable companies, like the network, like USA, TNN, for telling them you can't do this, you can't do that. So it was a character that was supposed to mock fun at.
Okay.
But like a normal wrestling fan who doesn't pay attention to that wouldn't know. As a kid, you're just thinking oh, this is just a dweeb.
Yeah. So basically, Vince was sticking one in at them. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to hate whenever I used to get so mad. I remember being a little kid being I can't wait till he leaves and I'm going to see some naked women. That was my thought. So Kurt Angle is backstage with Michael Cole and he tells him that he and Stephanie McMahon Helmsley are just friends and friends can hug. Look, me and you aren't friends, and I'll hug you, and they hug. So, Kurt Angle's trying really hard to push that he and Stephanie are just friends. Next up, DX takes on Too Cool. Grandmaster Sexay lands a missile dropkick to Road Dogg. Sexay power slams X-Pac, and Road Dogg accidentally hits X-Pac. X-Pac accidentally has the referee distracted as the Road Dogg has Guy Fieri pinned. Grandmaster Sexay lands a hip-hop drop to Road Dogg, but X-Pac lands an X-Factor and DX get the win here. But DX are sort of showing signs of miscommunication here. Do you think something's going to happen?
Possibly. And it's funny because, who is Road Dogg without DX? His gear is DX. Road Dogg's never been without DX. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do.
Well, definitely some miscommunication there. Next, we have Chris Benoit and the Tag Team Champions Edge and Christian versus the WWF Champion The Rock and the Acolytes in the 6-man tag here. The Acolytes hit a double slam to Christian for a 2 count, Rock slams Chris Benoit onto the announce table. Benoit hits The Rock, and Farouk with a steel chair, and then Edge DDT's Bradshaw, and Edge Christian Benoit win with some help of a steel chair. But more importantly is what happens after the match. The Rock grabs a chair. He looks for Benoit backstage. Rock hits Benoit with a chair, but Shane, Edge, and Christian all attack Rock. Rock gets the advantage. Benoit starts to bleed as Rock slams Benoit into lockers, and then Rock hits Benoit with a chair shot again. And this is a cool moment here. The Rock lands a rock bottom to Chris Benoit on top of the hood of a limo. Rock finally
pussies away in the back.
Yeah, but Rock finally gets a chance to fuck up Chris Benoit here, and he really did. What'd you think of this?
It was great because they always like sneak attack The Rock every week and do all this underhand shit, and The Rock always gets screwed. So it was nice to see Benoit get laid out.
Benoit got fucked up.
Yeah, he did.
Next up, Malenko, the light heavyweight champion, comes out and he says, "Women, you can't live with them, but lucky for me, you can wrestle them. Nothing turns me on more than fighting women, and I'm going to give you what every woman wants, a shot at the light heavyweight title." That's when European champion Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero, and Chyna come out. And Chyna says, "Jacqueline and Ivory aren't here, but I'm free right now." Chyna applies a Texas cloverleaf to Dean, but then Perry Saturn comes out and attacks Eddie. Perry lands a power slam to Guerrero on the ramp. Chyna checks on Guerrero, and Terry poses with Perry Saturn, allowing Dean Malenko to get a count-out victory. But this is more for Terry and Perry Saturn to assault Eddie here. What do you think of Perry's fucked up eye attacking Latino Heat?
I think Chyna should have fucking won the belt. It would have been awesome.
The light heavyweight champion. She's not light heavyweight, though. That's the problem. She's too big.
Well, yeah, but do you think Chyna's that much bigger than him?
She's taller, and she probably has more muscle.
Still, I mean, the belt was up.
She was an Intercontinental champion. Why would you make her light at that point? I'd like to see her become European champion, because then she would have a feud with Latino Heat. Triple H says, "Kurt Angle and I will never do anything together. My wife can't stand him. If Kurt Angle tries to screw with my wife, I will destroy him." So Triple H again sending a warning to the Olympic gold medalist. Tazz comes out next. Tazz says everybody's talking about the new Tazz. What's his motivation? Kane and Rikishi, they were all just another victim. I told you people the mood was about to change, and when it did, you wanted answers. When you find a man bad enough to yank the reasons out of my mouth, the path of rage will go on. Thug life born, thug life bred, and thug life dead. Mick Foley comes out. Foley says, "I'm fully loaded. You will be having a match." And then Al Snow comes out. Al says, "I cannot believe this. You act all angry. The last 7 months I have been training with Steve Blackman. Please, Mick, let me show this man what misery is all about." Foley says, "I like you, but when I put you in a big match, Al, you choke." And with that, Tazz applies a Tazzmission to Al Snow, and Al chokes. So, kind of corny.
Yeah, and it's just like, Tazz is not that intimidating at this point.
No.
It's like,
you will appreciate what's coming up for Tazz, though, for SummerSlam, I will say. I will say you're going to appreciate it. That's all I'm going to say. Michael Cole asked Stephanie McMahon Helmsley about her relationship with Kurt Angle. And Stephanie says, "A woman of my values wouldn't look at anyone else. I'm loyal, committed wife, and he's just my friend." Stephanie's a hoe.
Stephanie knows she wants to live in it.
She had no problem stealing Triple H from Chyna, so she had no problem cheating on him. Next up, we see Rikishi defeat Test with Trish Stratus after Test accidentally bumps Trish Stratus off the apron, and Rikishi lands a Samoan drop. After the Intercontinental Champion Val Venus and TNA attack Rikishi, Val rams the steps into Rikishi's face. To cool attack TNA, Sky Tuhati lands a worm to Albert on the stage, and then Val tosses Sky Tuhati off the stage. And they say he lands on concrete, but there's definitely padding there. But they're selling this like Sky Tuhati is really injured. And how dare Val Venus do something like this? Val Venus backstage, and he says Rikishi does whatever for the cheers of the fans. I used to gyrate for cheers, and death did nothing for me. Times have changed. I will be surrounded in the cage waiting for the cheers to turn to sorrow when I destroy Rikishi. So Val Venus has been on a tear lately, and
cut his hair.
Yeah.
And he is all about the business.
He's not playing. He's fucking up Rikishi, and I don't know. I wouldn't mess around with Rikishi, but we'll see here. We see Kai and Ty is at WWF New York. Kurt Angle tries to talk to Triple H. Triple H tells Kurt Angle he doesn't trust him, and Kurt Angle says, "Do you want to shake or hug?" And that's definitely a reference to Angle hugging Stephanie, and Triple H looks at him like he wants to kill him. And we have our main event, Triple H and Kurt Angle versus Kane and The Undertaker. Chris Jericho shows up and attacks Triple H as Kane chokeslams Kurt Angle for the Brothers of Destruction to get the win. After Jericho continues to attack Triple H some more until refs pull them apart. And Y2J is ready for Fully Loaded. What did you think of this episode of Raw? This is the final Raw before Fully Loaded. It was crazy.
It was crazy. It was definitely a good classic pre-pay-per-view Raw.
I agree. I thought it was really good, and it got me.
This is like what Attitude Era is about.
It got me excited for Fully Loaded for sure.
Definitely.
Well, next up we've got an episode of SmackDown, then we got Fully Loaded, and then our next pay-per-view will be SummerSlam. So you can check out the past seasons in the archive, and we'll be dropping more episodes soon. So until next time, stay safe, stay on.